So don't mind the face mask, your girl's breaking out. But I made a video yesterday and we talked a little bit about this new supplement that's on the market, and basically it's just a blend of other supplements all in one, and it's clinically proven to help just clear up any discoloration you might have and you know, blur your skin into one color basically. So this is great for people with like acne marks and scars and things like that. And obviously I was very interested in seeing what all was in this, and so we looked all into the lutein and everything that lutein does, which I had found lutein a few months prior, but I just hadn't found anything too, I don't know. I wasn't sold on it yet, but I was trying to get down to like, okay, what is the two main ingredients that's like doing all of the work? And so Oligopin was one of them, along with obviously the lutein in it. But Oligopin is just a trademarked name for basically the French maritime pine bark. And we talked about that. It's pycnogenol. We talked about pycnogenol back in like December. And so I wasn't yet sold on it because I wasn't really sure on the dosage, and also if you're going to take pycnogenol with how expensive it is, it's just like, okay, pycnogenol or glutathione. Like, you really wouldn't want to do both. It would just be too much money. There are other ways to get glutathione, or I don't know. I had to pick either or, and I wasn't completely sold on the pycnogenol, so obviously I just like kind of dropped it. But it is something that I want to expand on now because I'm finding more clinical studies on it. And in fact, I found so much stuff on pycnogenol that I can't even fit it all in like this video. So we're just gonna do a little bit of it just for the sake of time. But pycnogenol is just the French maritime pine bark extract. You can only like find this type of tree in the southwest coast of France, and anything that's not from there. I found when I was trying to find a brand of pycnogenol back a couple months ago, a lot of people were saying not to get the stuff that's made in the lab, you know, to get the natural stuff, and it has to be from this area of France, or technically it's just like pine bark extract, like you want the French maritime pine bark extract. And it was a lot. But the cool thing about it is that it has a very high oral bioavailability, which is amazing. So that means you don't have to do anything special with it. You don't have to break it open and put it under your tongue. You don't have to do like a rectal syringe or a nebulizer treatment. You can just take the pill orally. So I like that. And usually like when you see pycnogenol advertised, it's kind of, I don't feel like they sell it hard enough, because like just the breadth of the stuff that it does, it's like it's so large that they kind of just like try to like give like a catch-all for it, like, oh, it's anti-aging and better health and vascular support, which is just like, okay, cool, I know that's good, but like in what ways? So when I started reading all of these different clinical studies and these trials, some are in Canada as well as others in the US, that's when I started getting just a better view of like what it actually does. So some of the interesting things that I think will pretty much affect everyone is that it reduces allergies and asthma. So if you have seasonal allergies, if you have asthma, especially the type of asthma that like when you're doing something simple like running on a treadmill, or so like not like crazy asthma, like you're just sometimes doing just small things during the day, you lose your breath. Like, I'm not sure how helpful that would be for it, but you know, for asthma of when you are being physically active, this can be really helpful in taking it. Also, it helps combat depression, but it's a specific type of depression. I can't, if you wanted to look into that, I would definitely say research it, because they were very specific about the certain type. I cannot remember it, but there have been studies on it for depression, and something about serotonin levels, and so just keep that in mind. There's also a few studies I think they did in Canada on diabetes. If you do have diabetes and you're looking into pycnogenol, it is good for the type 1 diabetes. I got that much. Be really good stuff. And like, this is where I said like there's like a little bit of something for everyone, no matter like, even obviously we want it for skin health benefits, but there are so many other benefits. So this is the one I really liked, is that it improves your concentration. Not only that, but your memory. So like your recall and availability to just get what you've learned, retrieve it, and actually do something useful with it instead of just taking and taking and taking in. So the first study was like 53 people. It was like only 100 milligrams a day, and they did that for 2 months. And basically they just saw that it helped them with their attention, with their memory, and also it helped balance out their mood, which it's funny because we go back to the depression clinical studies and stuff like that. We already know it really helps with, depression. So something about mood and concentration, how those two are in any way related, I don't know, but that was in their findings after this, this 8-week study. Also, there was a separate study done. This one was with children, and they took like 61 kids, and the dosage of pycnogenol, they did it based off of their body weight. So it was like 1 milligram per kg, and they did that daily. And basically it significantly reduced their ADD and ADHD, though there was like a note in there that everyone relapsed like a month later. So once they were off the pycnogenol, their daily dose of pycnogenol, they did relapse. So this is something where if you want to continue to get the benefits, you have to take it. You can't just like use it as like a couple of months and then you'll be like cured. It doesn't really work like that. Also, I noticed some stuff that I wish I would have got more into it, but this is like a time release. And so within the first hour to like first 4 hours, that's like the height of, I guess, your concentration. But then over the course of maybe up to 8 hours, you're still gonna feel those effects. It's much heightened within the first 1 to 4 hours. So this is something that as it is broken down, you're still getting different benefits of it. And so I know with people who are taking what is that one, ADHD medication, the one that makes you like Superman and it keeps you awake very long, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But they have, different, time released ones, and then ones that are basically metabolized, fairly quickly, because that's what our bodies naturally do. And so pycnogenol, just naturally, it does the time release to where it can last a long amount of time, which I thought that was amazing. So this is really good, and this goes back to it having a high bioavailability. It does cross the BBB, the blood-brain barrier, which is amazing. So meaning it does get into your blood system. So going back to, you don't have to do a rectal syringe with this. You don't have to do like a nebulizer. You don't have to do an injection. This is just oral, taking it orally. It does go through the blood-brain barrier. And in this study, they were using it to treat people with concussions and different like traumatic brain injuries. So I thought that was pretty interesting. It did have it helped. Obviously, I don't completely understand what they were looking for, but just the after effect was positive, and it is something that is still used. Also, this is good for like people who want to lose weight. It does improve your metabolism. The study was like over 6 months, and everyone had their waist measured, and so they didn't give us the details of how much person themselves lost. They just did how many inches around their waist they lost. And during the 6 month, it did show that it helped because it gets down into like your cells, and so it helped with reducing like the oxidative stress on your fat cells. So it will help with your metabolism. Obviously, it isn't going to be like overnight because it was only like a couple inches over 6 months. I don't know if those people were also working out. I'm going to assume that they weren't, and they were just at their resting weight. They were just taking this, and it helped boost their metabolism to help them process their food and not just create all these different fat cells. But what do I know? Another thing is it is really helpful for liver function, and also there's some information on it helping for kidney function as well. There's tons of stuff on it for helping vascular function. The findings with the vascular function stuff was really interesting. This is great for people with like if you suffer from like thrombosis, like if you're on like a long flight and you're sitting. Some people have to like wear compression stockings. Taking pycnogenol is like, basically they said this is the exact same as if you were to wear compression stockings. Like that was the same outcome. So you could do either or, take your pycnogenol or wear compression stockings. So it was very, very helpful with vascular function, and there were other heart related elements that they did some findings and some studies on too. So wrapping it up, some other stuff was like birth control and menstruation, which is, we'll get into that in another video, but it's just like there was a little bit of something for everyone when it came to the skin. 100% for hyperpigmentation, and I guess just they try to say it like evening out. I don't know yet, and that's kind of why I wanted to make this video again, just to see if there's anyone else who is still taking pycnogenol. What results have you seen? I know I brought this up back in December. What results have you seen? Because there really isn't a lot of information on just what dosage should you take if you're taking this like for your skin. Because obviously the main dosage is 100 milligrams. Is 100 milligrams, well, I would say in all the studies everyone is taking like 100 milligrams, if not less, depending on each kilogram, and so just their weight. But it's just, should we be taking 200 milligrams? Because like I see in most of the studies you can go from 50 to 300 milligrams of pycnogenol. Pycnogenol is not cheap. It's like about, I saw some that were going for like $45 for a bottle of 60. So I don't know, having to get down the dosage obviously is important. And then how does it work in the skincare community? Is it going to be as helpful or as beneficial as glutathione? Or are you just kind of gonna like plateau with it? Like how far can it really go for skin? So I'm very interested in seeing if anyone else has some other information. And the next video we'll get into more of the skin health findings and obviously all the other stuff that it does, because like it does like a million things. But if you guys have any information on it or you've taken it, then please let us know. What is your dosage and how long are you taking it and what have you noticed?